Well, good morning, everyone. It is 10 a.m. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey in the WCIA 3 Weather Center. I wanted to talk with you a little bit about our risk for strong to severe storms as we go into tomorrow. We're also going to touch on the fire weather danger into today, that is. And so we'll kind of walk through both of those things. And as you're hopping on here, let me know where you're watching from. If you have any questions, anything like that, so I would appreciate seeing that there. And we will go ahead and get started here. So real quick, we'll talk about the forecast for today. We're going to be warm out there. In fact, it is already warm. Most spots are already reporting they're in the 60s this morning. And I think we'll hit the mid to upper 60s, kind of plateau at some point. That's because the wind's going to mix the air. And when that happens, sometimes I can keep our temperatures down a little bit. Still optimistic we're going to get to that 69-degree mark, but maybe we have a chance to fall a degree or two shy there. I'm an optimistic guy. I like seeing that. And so that is what we will be doing here. So that's our forecast for today. Again, that west wind is going to be very noticeable before all is said and done. All right, let's walk through that fire weather risk a little bit more here. And again, we'll hit that severe weather. Let me know where you're watching from as well. I always appreciate hearing where our viewers are coming from and answering any questions that we might have. All right, red flag warning in effect. Livingston, McLean County, they pulled that down for Kankakee County as well, not including Fort and Iroquois County. But the fire weather concern growing today, particularly in northern and northwestern parts of the state. We are still at an elevated status here. The safest advice is do not burn. If all the yard work you have to do, avoid burning. Strong winds, the drought leaving dry vegetation, and dormant vegetation. It's winter, right? None of that grass is alive, so it is dry. And then low relative humidities mean fire can quickly spread. And so that is something that we'll be watching for the day today. In fact, this is the forecast for the state. The high fire danger is all up here. In fact, I think I need to pull it more into the Chicago metro based on some of the data I was just looking at. But this works for now. We set an elevated status here across central Illinois. Look at this. The northwest part of the state, actually at the top of our forecast category for extreme there, they have fire weather conditions that we're seeing in Oklahoma and Texas. Now, thankfully, our terrain is a lot different than Oklahoma and Texas, but we still can have fires spread quickly. And so a high concern for a lot of us, an extreme concern for even parts of the state here. And even if you're down here in the green where you had some rain over the weekend here, I would still avoid burning. So just anyone watching across the state of Illinois, don't burn. Save it for a colder, less windy day because we're in some hurt here in the fire weather forecast given how things are set up. All right, let's continue to roll along here. And we're going to talk now about the severe weather risk. This is for tomorrow. No severe weather today. It's sunny, it's windy, it's dry, and warm. Tomorrow's still warm, but we're going to watch for two potential rounds of thunderstorm activity. And either one of those rounds could have some strong to severe storms. There's some things, if this happens, then we'll see that. If you catch what I'm saying, some conditions that will meet that will determine what our forecast ends up with for tomorrow. But we are watching that. We're checking that data out and keeping an eye on things. Currently, we're sitting at a slight risk, a level 2 out of 5 for most all of our area here. That's for the areas that are in yellow. That marginal kind of grazes the north and west edge of our area here. But let's just consider for all intents and purposes, we all sit in that slight risk. I think that's the easiest way. And our severe risk going to be approximately the same everywhere. There are some favored zones. I'll show you that here with Future Track. But if you're watching, we all have a severe weather risk for Thursday. Here we go, Thursday morning, 10 a.m. I don't expect a lot once we finish the 9 a.m. show tomorrow. But between 10 and noon, we'll be watching closely as some thunderstorm activity tries to develop here. And that storm activity, in fact, I'm going to back it up a little bit. Let's get to 11. We'll be watching to see if anything can form on this boundary coming on through. There could be some light rain showers as well sneaking on in. But then as we get to 12, here you see maybe the chance for a couple of storms to organize becomes severe, not out of the question. And that may continue even into 1 o'clock. You kind of get the idea that maybe that morning round comes in a little later. Perhaps that helps things perform a little more on the severe side than just some boring rain and thunder in the morning, if that makes sense. If this were 3-4 hours earlier, I don't think it'd be an issue, but guidance has started to like to push it late morning into the early afternoon. And that brings a window of opportunity that it could become severe. Wind, hail, even a tornado threat possible with that here. And so 1 o'clock, guidance kind of likes it south of I-72, somewhere close to I-70. Where exactly we'll see, but we get the idea that there's a cluster here. That may have implications as well further to the north of it. Anyone north of that could have a lesser severe threat. This may stunt the instability from lifting all the way north, and it may kind of set some railroad tracks there, a boundary that would allow for the severe threat to settle from that point where those storms went in south. So we will watch that. Not a guarantee, but something that certainly is on the table here for us. As we roll in, notice 2, 3 o'clock, a couple of those storms look fairly intense there, but they do clear out pretty quickly. Then once we get past 3 o'clock, our attention will turn to see if any additional development can happen on this secondary line here coming on through. Notice the nature of it. It says at 5 o'clock, 5:30, a few isolated cells. If those cells can tap into the robust wind shear, they'd have a decent chance of turning tornadic as well. So that's something that we'll keep an eye on here. Kind of see a couple of those. And guidance tries to bring them a little more intense. They aren't the strongest looking, but the nature of these cells being individual stands out because individual storms will tap in better than if we had a squall line. But that also means there's a lot of people that miss out on that. If you find yourselves in the path of one of those storms and it intensifies, then we'll have some severe weather to deal with here. But we will see if, one, the atmosphere can destabilize after the morning, early afternoon round. Two, is there a lid that is left behind in the atmosphere? That keeps rising air from allowing to punch through and tap into that rich wind shear. If that happens, these storms may not be able to pop on through. We scrape through that second round without any issues. If that doesn't happen, then maybe these are problematic for us. So very much a conditional. A lot's going to happen with that morning round. That plays a role with the afternoon round as it moves on through. I think that is out of here by 7, 8 p.m. After that, then, say goodbye to spring. Winter-like temperatures are returning to the weekend. I'll talk about that in a minute. Currently, our tornado risk, a 4 out of 10 in a good chunk of our viewing area here. That's going to be from Danville to Champaign to Decatur to Taterville, points to the south, including Paris, Mattoon, Charleston, and Effingham. 3 out of 10 in green, a 1 in the blue there. We might see that change a little bit in area, potentially in number. There's a new update that comes out later this morning, and we'll have updates as well tonight into tomorrow. And some of it's going to be conditional based, right? If we happen to, in the morning, nail those storms and get them to turn tornadic, and then we see the afternoon round come, that might allow for these numbers to rise, but we may not know if that's going to happen until we see things play out, right? It's one of those things where we kind of have to watch and assess as things are moving. Okay, these storms are really swiping the instability out of the atmosphere. Hey, they're leaving a boundary behind. We're going to be watching for key details and see what happens with that and see how that influences the severe threat through the day. Overall, though, I'll call the tornado risk low. It is certainly not zero. There's a chance that if things materialize in a more higher end scenario, that goes up. Wind, probably 60 to 70 mile per hour gust, can't be ruled out. Some quarter-size hail, also not out of the question. I do think there may be a chance in that morning, early afternoon round to see some hail maybe a little bit larger. And I'll show you the map here in a second on that. Coverage of the severe weather is scattered. Not all of us are getting severe thunderstorms. In fact, not even all of us are getting rain and thunder from this. But if you happen to get some of those scattered severe storms, the intensity might lean more towards medium. And timing, I'm leaving the window as early as 9 a.m. I think it's important to just be aware in the morning, but we're probably prime time 11 a.m. till 3 p.m., maybe a secondary peak there, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., if you get the idea of those two rounds. And again, that all is going to depend on when those storms arrive. Can they form? Does the atmosphere recover behind them? And things of that. So broad window, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. to account for some uncertainty. Damaging wind risk, pretty standard. We're here in that yellow category. And a large hail risk is similar as well. However, if there's a chance for some hail that's a little bit larger, it wouldn't surprise me if we got some larger than $half to golf ball size. Down here, Mattoon, Charleston, Effingham, Paris, maybe with that morning around, stronger storm could allow for that here. And we'll leave it there at $quarter to $half for the rest of the area, but we'll keep an eye on that. That's something that is kind of sticking out to me here this morning, that maybe we get an isolated storm or two capable of some larger hail, so we'll keep you updated. Here's that risk. Again, we're just part of the risk. The risk goes all the way into southern Illinois, includes most of central and southern Indiana, northern Kentucky, and south and west Ohio there. The marginal risk surrounds it. We'll see if they upgrade that at all for us and give us anything from that. Here's the low pressure today. We have strong south winds blowing into that low. That's to our north, no severe weather from it. It's a pretty impressive low for this time of year. It'll clear on to the east. The one that follows it here is the one that will cause issues into tomorrow. Again, we're just in that sweet spot here where we could see some of the storms become severe locally. close to the low, good wind shear. Do we have enough instability? Is the lid too strong? Some questions remain, but it clears on through, and then it's pretty solid that we'll head back to winter-type temperatures. I think we're not going to see any snow over the weekend on a widespread scale. I can't rule out some flurries. Maybe a piece of energy throws some our way. I don't have a lot of confidence in that, but I do know it's going to be cold. Highs on Friday in the 40s. It'll be windy on the backside there, perhaps the windiest day of the week. And then Saturday and Sunday down into the 30s. And again, maybe a chance for some flurries sneak on in at some point, but we'll keep you updated on that. The wind chill values, teens, Saturday morning, Sunday morning, and Monday morning. Want to remind you, hope you get the chance to join us Friday. Notice we're getting some spring weather, but then we're going back to winter just in time for Hootie Hoo Day. And Hootie Hoo Day is on Friday here. And I called Judy. She is going to be with us at Hessel Park on Friday at 11:30 a.m. I hope to see you there. I think we're going to have a great time. Going to come out with us 11:30 a.m. and shout Hootie Hoo. We'll be live on the news at noon. If you can't watch, can't join us, I should say, then come watch on TV. We'll be on the newscast at noon going Hootie Hoo. And I think some of us might be a little more ready than others for some actual quiet spring, some nice warm summer weather. Friday marks a month until the first day of spring, in fact. Interesting fact there. And winter's probably got more tricks up its sleeve before all is said and done. That's what I got for you. Again, I just wanted to do a quick update and get on and talk about a few things. I'll quickly look at questions, but then I got some behind-the-scenes things to take care of. I'm going to bring this back as well, impacts, just so people see that. Maybe they're coming in later. Tornado threat is low. Wind and hail also a threat. Scattered severe storms, that means not everyone gets them, but if you do, it could have the chance to be a little more intense than normal. And so we'll watch and see how that plays out here. Some things we still got to figure out, what's happening with tomorrow. And we may have to wake up tomorrow and look at things and go, okay, we see this. Here's what the rest of the day brings. But I do think that risk of severe weather will be there. There is a chance as well. I'll admit it. There is a chance that we can scrape through with minimal issues and get just some scattered storms in the morning, not much in the afternoon, evening. That is a possibility. Do I think we're going to scrape through? It's hard for me to see that we scrape through entirely clean. I think a few spots may have some issues at a minimum. The question to me is, can we lean towards a more impactful event? And I'm not certain on that at this point. I think there's a chance of that, though. So we're just kind of jumping a day early and talk about those things. And again, 9 a.m. till 7 p.m. It's probably more like 10, 11 a.m., but I want to leave that window open just in case that morning round starts to ramp up a little bit quicker here in central Illinois. Again, if you're asking about a specific location, this is for everyone. We're just broad brush here. All of us have that wind, hail risk. All of us have that tornado risk. We may find tomorrow there's a few zones that are a little bit higher. That's something that we'll have to analyze here as we go through the next 24 hours. We'll get new data coming in. All that model data comes in, gives us an idea, paints the picture, helps us to figure out what the atmosphere is going to do. All right, checking in, see if we got any questions. Lots of people checking in as well. We've got Carly in Georgetown, Kelsey down in Taylorville. Redmond in the house. Marcia is down there watching. We've got Hoopston. Heather is up there. Hey, Heather, how you doing? Hayden is in Oblong. Good to see you in the house, Hayden. We've got Neoga. Karen is there. Salt Fork South Elementary Kindergarten is watching. Hey, kindergartners. How we doing? And then Kelsey saying every day is Hootie Hoo Day when it's cool. Yeah, I know, right? I'm a warm weather lover. I mean, I like winter, but I feel like winters around here aren't that great. We've been lucky to have some decent snowpack. It was really pretty for a while, but a lot of times it's just brown. That's no fun. Nicholas asking, can we see the future radar again? Yeah, let me just walk through that one more time, and then we'll do that. So again, this is future track model. It kind of illustrates the idea of this morning round coming in. If this is a couple hours earlier or a couple hours later, that has some implications to the forecast. But you'll see here, as it carries on through, notice between 11, 12, and 1, maybe that morning round is able to strengthen, become more severe here. You can get the idea at 12 and 1, it's strengthening. Is it going to sit exactly here? No, it may be a little north. It may be a little more south. But we get the idea that somewhere close by, there'll be a morning round that should strengthen. If it comes in earlier, it's going to strengthen in Indiana. If it comes in a little later, it'll strengthen more in our area. So that is something that we'll watch. An hour or two difference makes a big impact in my mind here. That will clear on out by 3 o'clock, I think. Then we'll see if any redevelopment can happen. This, to me, yesterday felt like the better chance for severe weather. Today, it seems like more of the conditional chance for severe weather because we need this to clear out in time. We've got to pull in enough instability. We've got to also not have warm air aloft, limit rising motion. If those things don't happen, and Future Track kind of on the fence about that here, maybe we can get a couple of those storms to trend up in severity as we go into the evening hours. And we're done by 8 o'clock, I think. So that kind of gets us through that with the Future Track with the risk of severe weather. Chase is asking, is there a way to watch the whole stream? He missed most of it. Yeah, once I hop off, it'll take Facebook a minute to render it. It will pop up there. I also have my forecast cut and posted on WCIA.com/weather and on the WCIA3 weather app. We'll be keeping that updated through the day as well. That's what I got for you, folks. I'm going to sign off here. It's been great to check in with you. Make sure you're weather aware tomorrow. Don't burn today. Enjoy the warmth. Maybe the wind you got to deal with here, but a couple of these spring days that unfortunately we may have to pay for before all is said and done. And of course, we'll be here. We're planning to be out in the storm tracker and in the field, and we'll let you know more about that as we get into our tomorrow. Take care. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see you at WCIA 3 News at noon.